Do you know how to overcome major retirement constraints? If not, we're going to talk about 4 constraints that you need to know how to overcome in our financial freedom video, so stay locked in. Hi, my name is Carson Graves, certified financial planner and president and CEO of the Retirement Education Center.
And my name is Andrea Graves, Director of Operations at the Retirement Education Center. For additional concepts on how to maximize your retirement, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when we upload new videos. We want to welcome you back to our channel. Well, Carson, today you're discussing a topic that I know many retirees think about, and that is how to overcome certain retirement constraints that can limit their ability to enjoy their retirement years without stress.
Yes, when facing major constraints in retirement, it could really hold people back from fully enjoying their golden years, Andrea. Whether it's with their money, their health, maybe their purpose in life, or just their emotional well being, or even social connections. It is really important for people to understand how to overcome certain retirement constraints in retirement when they appear. And so we're going to talk about these 4 constraints that you need to make sure you can overcome today. But before we get into that, there are 2 rules to retirement income that we always like to give you. And Andrew, what are those 2 rules?
Well, rule number 1 is to never run out of money, and rule number 2 is to never forget rule number 1.
Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into our lesson today to talk about these 4 retirement constraints that you're going to want to know about and also understand how to overcome in your retirement years.
Carson, it's never too late to start making a plan to address major retirement roadblocks, but people really do need to be proactive and start here, correct?
Yeah, Andrew, I absolutely agree with that because when you can identify certain retirement obstacles early, you can go ahead and start to prepare and then secure a more enjoyable, fulfilling retirement. So let's go ahead and transition to our teaching slides so we can take a deeper analysis into these 4 common constraints that many retirees are going to want to plan for. And make sure that you pay close attention to constraint number 4 because it is often overlooked and taken for granted. So let's go ahead and talk about the first financial constraint that you're going to want to try to overcome. The first retirement financial constraint that you need to be aware of is insufficient savings. Now, many people worry that they just haven't saved enough for retirement. Now, of course, this can be a major constraint for many retirees. This includes not saving enough into their retirement accounts like 401ks, pensions, or IRAs, and not having a large enough nest egg to maintain their desired lifestyle. So, how would I recommend that you overcome this particular constraint? Well, the one thing that you definitely are going to want to do is that you're going to want to start saving as early as possible. And of course, that allows you to fully take advantage of that eighth wonder of the world, which is compound interest. Why is this so important? Well, let's just take, for example, that if you have a 25-year-old, and let's just assume a 7% rate of return on their investments, and they want to retire by the age of 67 with $1 million in their retirement account, well, that 25-year-old will only have to put away around $253 per month. Now, let's go ahead and fast forward this particular individual to age 40, and they still want to retire by the age of 67, and they want to have that same $1 million of savings. Well, that particular person would then, with the same rate of return, would have to save about $1,120 per month. So, of course, it is critical if you want to overcome the financial constraint and worry of having insufficient savings, then you're going to want to start saving early and often. Another thing that you're going to want to do in order to make sure that you have sufficient savings for retirement is that you need to go ahead and start making a budget and or adjust your lifestyle so that you can save more. Another area that people have to overcome under the banner of financial constraints is debt. Of course, you cannot have high level of debt when you enter retirement. This is going to include like having a large mortgage or having a large amount of dollars on credit cards or student loans. So how do I recommend overcoming this particular financial constraint? You're going to definitely want to pay down high interest debts before retiring, and you also may want to consider downsizing as well. You also need to start thinking about cutting back on unnecessary expenses. Maybe you don't need all of those subscriptions. Maybe you don't need to be going out to eat every single night. Maybe you don't need to go on the most elaborate and expensive vacations anymore. You have to start looking at these things. And so you want to start cutting back on unnecessary expenses. Another financial constraint that I don't think people take seriously enough is trying to combat inflation and cost of living adjustments. Now, over time, everyone knows that inflation can eat into your purchasing power and your savings. So, when it comes to this particular issue, as we know that inflation is going to be with us always, how do I recommend to my clients that they actually attack this particular financial constraint? What I would tell my clients is, of course, consider diversifying your investments to hedge against inflation. Now, here, the rising cost of living, including healthcare, housing, and other daily expenses, of course, can put a major strain on your retirement funds, especially if you have not planned adequately. So, even if you are late to the game, you need to start thinking about investing in things like stocks, mutual funds, and perhaps even real estate to help you keep up or even outpace inflation. Now, the second constraint that you're going to want to consider when it comes to your retirement is healthcare constraints. Now, we know that when it comes to healthcare costs, it can be the largest expense in your retirement, especially as you age and start to require more medical care, or if you have some chronic health issues and ongoing health problems that will limit your ability to work or enjoy your activities that you like, or to just to fully engage in your retirement life. Now, with that being the case, here's how I recommend that you overcome this particular retirement constraint. You need to make sure you speak to someone and look into investing in a good health insurance plan, and of course, consider long term care insurance. Another thing that you have to take personal note of is that you need to try your best to maintain a healthy lifestyle through exercising, dieting, and of course, getting regular medical checkups from your doctor. And last but certainly not least, you need to consider saving money in a separate account like an HSA account if you have the ability to do so. A health savings account is an account that your employer typically offers when you're under a high deductible insurance plan. Now, when you're talking about an HSA account, it enjoys three major tax benefits. The money that is actually invested inside of your HSA account will be allowed to grow tax deferred, so it's not being taxed as that money is growing. And of course, on the back end, when you're pulling the money out of an HSA account for a qualified medical expense, the money comes out tax free. So that money inside of your HSA account is never taxable and could always be a benefit for you throughout your retirement years. Now, the third constraint that you're going to have to overcome as a retiree are your psychological constraints. Now, when it comes to your psychology of your money, one of the biggest fears that have been noted for retirees is the fear of them running out of money before they run out of breath. As a matter of fact, there was a recent study that showed that running out of money was a bigger fear than actually dying for most retirees. Another psychological constraint is the retirement anxiety that many people have when they're transitioning from their work life into a life to where they are no longer attached to their job. So they have anxiety about the detachment and their identity from their workplace. So here are some of the ways that I recommend that you overcome some of these psychological constraints. One, you definitely need to work with a financial advisor to help you create a sustainable retirement withdrawal strategy for your money. Within your plan, you're going to want to address not just your financial goals, but you'll also want to speak to your advisor about your personal and social goals as well to help you ease through the transition of one, the fear of running out of money, and two, the retirement anxiety of not being identified by what you do now, but more or less of who you are. Now, the last retirement constraint that you're going to want to address are legal and estate planning constraints. Now, this is definitely an area that we talk to our clients about a lot because without the proper estate planning, which includes things like a will, having a living trust, having a power of attorney, you can risk leaving your assets in a state of confusion, or your loved ones may face unnecessary legal challenges long after you're gone. And of course, without an adequate estate plan or clear estate plan, it can be very difficult for your assets to be able to efficiently transfer to your beneficiaries or your other charitable causes. So, how do we recommend that you overcome this particular retirement constraint? One, what we're going to always do for our clients is have them to speak to our estate planning attorney so they can talk about whether they need a will, a trust, and any other necessary documents for their estate. The next thing that you're going to want to do once you have that plan in place, you're certainly going to want to make sure that you always keep it updated anytime you have any major changes in your life.
All right, Carson, so what's the moral of this video?
Well, the moral of this video is that to avoid these major retirement constraints, you need to take these proactive steps in this video to help alleviate these obstacles and allow yourself to have a more successful retirement. And as always, it is prudent for you to seek professional advice around any of these topics that we've discussed today.
After this video, please check out our other videos that will give you tips on how to maximize your retirement. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you have questions,
we have answers. Please note that these videos are created for educational purposes only, and that you should always seek out your own financial advisor, your own tax advisor, and your own attorney regarding your personal situation. Also, if you are looking for an independent fiduciary advisor to help you with these types of complex financial matters, we highly recommend that you utilize the links in our description below and go ahead and schedule a 1-hour free consultation with us today.